Hey yo, it's the bad guy. Figured I'd give you a little tour. Got 13 cabinets in here right now. Got a 14th in the basement. But this is the one that started it all for me. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I never even heard of Arcade One Up when I bought this thing. I was just a huge fan of the game back in the day. I was gonna buy a full-size cabinet. But when I Googled, this is what I found. For $4.99, I figured I'm in. Bought it, built it, loved it. Was hooked. So then I started looking for upgrades. Got this light up marquee aftermarket. I don't even know who I got this from anymore. I wish I did because it is really nice. Has the Konami logo on it too. Added some light up coin doors to it. From MK Skunkworks on Etsy. I highly recommend him. The light kits are from 530 Retro. They're super easy to put in. Just lay out where the buttons are, drill 3/8 hole, bam, those things plug right in. Big addition. I love them. So after I got the one, I started looking into them more. This was the next one I got when it first dropped. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, always have been, of the OG trilogy, we'll put it that way. So I bought this guy. Originally it was a sit down. Didn't really like the feel of sitting down in it. So bought a riser, got some custom artwork, turned it into a stand-up, and also added another light-up coin door to it. I think it looks great. This is probably my favorite game of the whole thing. This one here, the Midway Legacy, was an upgrade over the original Mortal Kombat, which I found on Facebook Marketplace. Not this one, the original, for 300 bucks. But then I found this one at Walmart for, I think it was 250. It didn't come with the light up marquee, did not come with the riser, but again, added the riser with the artwork, bought a light up marquee for it, light up coin door, and this was the third cabinet I ever owned. And the other Mortal Kombat I have in my basement, like I said, and I put the NES control deck on it, so I have a collection of about 400 to 500 NES games, so that cabinet gets a decent amount of play too. This one here you guys may have seen, Midway Multicade. It's been around for a while. This is like the OG of the home arcades. I think this thing was out in the early 2000s. Got an actual CRT monitor, and most of the games on this thing are the same as the Midway Legacy, exception of a few. Robotron, Sinistar, Satan's Hollow. And the cool thing about this thing is that you can plug a console system in it. So I think in it right now I have a multi-system that plays Super NES, Sega Genesis, and NES. And I thought I can originally play it through the machine itself, but you really can't do that. So I'm trying to figure out a way to hardwire a controller into the joystick, but it'll give me something to do. The only reason I'm even keeping this is basically because of Robotron, and when the time comes, and it comes for everybody, that you run out of space, this is probably going to be one that'll go. But my brother-in-law found this thing on Facebook Marketplace for 100 bucks. I'd never even heard of it before, but he asked if I wanted it, and I figured for 100 bucks, yeah, why not? I'll do something with it. But yeah, this one, it's not too bad. The games aren't pure arcade ports. They're scaled down a little bit, so that kind of sucks, but it's still pretty fun. This one here, Outrun. Bought this one brand new. Sit-down cab. Again, not really a fan of the the sit down. You know, it just I'm not that big. I'm only 5'9", like 180, and I still feel like I shouldn't be sitting in this. It looks tiny. So the only reason I haven't converted it to a stand-up yet is because I have a 3-year-old, and when when he comes down here, this is the first. I mean, he jumps right on this thing. Knows exactly how to play it. So if I turned it into a stand-up, he wouldn't be able to play it. So that's pretty much the only reason why it's still in a sit-down mode. This one, Terminator, is one of my favorites. When this thing dropped, $700, there was no way in hell I was paying that much for it with one game. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one. But I knew that I probably was going to get it if it went on sale. So it dropped to $3.99, and I pulled the trigger. I kind of jumped the gun because a month later or 2 months later it dropped to $2.99, but that's okay. But as you can see, upgraded the marquee from Sabo. That thing is awesome looking. I recommend that to anybody. So I figured if, you know, the money I saved on this, I could try to spruce it up a little bit. I did the whole wire hide thing, cut the bottom of these out, drilled a hole, ran the wire down in. Looks really, really clean. Again, another light up coin door. Even got some Midway graphics on the sides and on the front. Make it look more arcade accurate, just like that up there. Eventually, I'm going to do the guns, paint them black, put a clear coat on them. Why not? This one here, the Gen 1 Pac-Man, this is the one that has the most story behind it. I got this cabinet for $5. Paid $5 for this thing. Found it on Craigslist. Dude said he was driving down the road. Somebody had it sitting out for trash. He had no idea if it even worked. There was no power cable. He couldn't plug it in. So I figured for $5, I got in my truck, drove 45 minutes away. I mean, the cabinet itself alone, whether it worked or not, was worth $5 to me because I would do something with it. But so I brought it home. It was in beat up shape. The sides were still there. The artwork was real scratched up. The wooden supports in the back were all broke. So I basically rebuilt the whole back of this thing. New wood. Braced it all. It's probably the most sturdiest cabinet I have now. But I bought an aftermarket power cable for $10, plugged it in, fired right up. So I figured, well, I'm going to try to restore this thing. So restored the artwork on the side. The control panel, the control deck was completely scratched. So I repainted that, like meticulously detailed, repainted the entire thing. Bought a clear deck protector. Bought a riser for it with, again, artwork. And a light up marquee. And yeah, I would like to upgrade to different Pac-Mans because, I mean, obviously the new ones have multiple games on it, but this one, I don't know, I'm kind of attached to it since I put so much time and effort into it. I'm probably going to put some coin doors on it too. This guy is the brother cabinet of the Midway over there. So when I got the hold of that Midway and I started Googling and researching what it was, I learned that there was another one. This one was harder to come by. It was Konami. And kind of makes sense because the game lineup on this is probably a lot better than the Midway, at least in my opinion anyways. I mean, this thing has got Blades of Steel, Castlevania, Contra, Frogger. I mean, this, when I saw that this thing existed, I went out of my way to try to find one, and I did. I found it on Craigslist. Got some dude down to $150. The only problem is it's missing the front panel. The front door panel that this one has over here. So I was able to get him down $50 for that, but I figured I can put a door on it myself, put some custom Konami artwork on it, but yeah, this thing for $150 is worth it. Because who knows if Arcade 1-Up or iArcade or anybody's going to start releasing some of these Konami games other than the beat 'em ups, you know. But for $150, yeah, it was worth it. Here's my lone pinball, the Star Wars. Had to get it. Like I said, huge OG Star Wars fan. Wasn't, again, willing to pay $700 when this thing dropped. So it's one of those things, I kept my eye on it. I figured when it goes down in price, I'm going to pull the trigger. And I think it was May the 4th, Star Wars Day, earlier in the year, this year. I think it went down to 420 bucks. Couldn't pass it up. I love this cabinet. Love it. This is probably the one that gets the most playing time when people come over. There. For those of you that have it, 163 million. I'd like to think that's a pretty good score. So let me know your scores. I also picked up this little hockey table. I'm a hockey player. Always, I've been playing my whole life. Always loved the old Czechs bubble hockey. But again, not willing to pay 3,000 bucks for one of those things. So found this on Facebook, 200 bucks. Does the exact same thing. The only problem is there's no dome, no glass. The puck flies around pretty regularly, but I got some thin, clear plexiglass. I'm going to make boards on this thing, and it'll probably keep the puck in a little bit better. This one, NBA Jam. I was a big fan of this back in the day. Played it on Sega all the time. And this is probably one of the ones other than Pac-Man, is the best deal I got. I found it on Facebook Marketplace. Kid, I'm from Western Pennsylvania. I live in Pittsburgh. And I found a kid in West Virginia that was selling this thing for $200. Brand new. Actually, I think he wanted $250 for it, but I got him down to $200. He said he built it, played it twice, didn't like it, didn't want it, was just trying to get rid of it. So, and again, I jumped right in my truck, drove about an hour and 10 minutes, and actually on my way there is when I stopped in downtown Pittsburgh and picked up that Konami. So I was doing a little shopping that day. Yeah, I went and got this thing. It was in pristine, perfect condition, like he said it was. The riser wasn't even built yet. Yeah, I got it for $200. Can't beat that. This one is probably my favorite cabinet besides Star Wars. And I know there was a lot of problems with this thing out the gate. No Wi-Fi, no online, none of that stuff. But it served me well because, again, I try to get my value on these things, and really didn't want to spend $600, so I figured we'll see what happens. You know, Black Friday, maybe it'll go down in price. Well, I think the fact that this thing was getting so much negative backlash caused the prices to drop. The overstock was so high, they needed to move these things, so the prices were dropping. I got it for $380. Added some lights on it. I'm definitely going to replace that marquee. It's not bad, but, I mean, looking at the Terminator, the Sabo, I mean, just look at the difference. It's not even, you can't even compare it. So this one's definitely going to get a marquee upgrade. The cabinet's awesome. I love it. I know everybody hates on the artwork. I don't mind that much, probably because my man Jerome Bettis is on the side. Simpsons. Again, that was one of my favorites as a kid. It was these three, the Konami beat-em-ups, Turtles, Simpsons, and X-Men. And when I found this thing was coming out, I mean, it was a no-brainer for me. And I know this thing gets a lot of hate. The speakers, they suck. The Simpsons and the X-Men both. The speakers are terrible, but the game is fun. The marquees are kind of crap. Eventually, I'll probably get around to replacing them, and probably even the speakers too. But I said, you can't beat the game, man. The Simpsons they're just a classic. That was another one of my go-tos in the arcade that took a lot of my quarters. Yep, light up coin doors on that too. I pretty much modified. I wouldn't even call it modified. Just upgraded. Pretty much every cabinet in here aside. I don't think I've done anything to NBA Jam yet. But again, I'm gonna get the double coin doors for that eventually. And last but not least is X-Men. Yeah, that marquee just looks junk. So I'll replace it, since this is one of my favorites, all-time favorites. Got the light-up deck, and actually the only cabinet I have that came with a stool. Great game though. You can't go wrong with X-Men. I play this online a lot. or at least I try to. Same with Simpsons. You know, the online isn't as strong as I wish it was. Because coming down here and playing these 4-player cabinets by yourself, it gets old. But if you can get online, 3, 4 other people, then that's where the replay value is in these things, for sure. So, also went around. I know it's probably hard to see because of the blue lights, but oh, there's the heat that I ran. I'm standing in my garage, by the way. I converted half of my 2-car garage. This is where I'm at. When we moved into this house 2 years ago, I have a full-size truck, and my wife has a big SUV, and neither one of them, my truck definitely didn't fit in here. Hers, it would have been so tight that it wouldn't even have been worth it. So this was kind of a no-brainer for me to, you know, once my collection started getting big, I'm like, I got to do something. So I brought them in here, built all these stands that you see that all these games are sitting on. So, which actually improves these things so much. Just giving that extra 4 inches of height on these things. I mean, like I said, for a guy that's 5'9", it is like perfect height for me. But yeah, I went around and started buying artwork. You know, that like original artwork. I mean, these aren't original, but they're remakes of the original. Of like something that you'd see, like promotional posters about pretty much every one of the games that I have in my collection so far. And this is definitely not it for me, no doubt about it. I've pretty much bought everything that I want that is out right now. I wanted Ridge Racer. I was going to pull the trigger on Ridge Racer when it was $2.99. But I had just bought Terminator and I just bought Blitz, and it was getting close to Christmas, and I didn't want to spend too much money. My wife is already being very patient with me when it comes to that kind of stuff. So for now, I just didn't get it, and I'm holding out hope that, I don't know if you can even see this stuff, but holding out hope. Yeah, I'd like to get another driving cabinet for sure, but I think if I'm going to get another driver, it's going to be Daytona if and when it gets released, or Cruis'n USA is the top of my list for sure. I don't know if it'll ever get released. I know there's issues with the licensing with Nintendo and all that crap, but that would be my number one driving cab. I think, you know, obviously I have more room in here if I need it. I can condense these things, maybe not so much over here, but I can put one in the corner. I have a space all along this side that I can line up another row of them. Even in the middle of the floor right here where it's open, can probably get a couple cabs back to back. Like I said, tighten all these up. I mean, I could probably fit at least another 6, 7, 8 cabs in here. I'd like to get another pinball machine. I'm really looking at the At Legends pinball that I can tuck in over there, or Attack from Mars, the arcade one up, Attack from Mars. But I'm going to probably have to wait a couple months since like I said, I just bought a couple cabinets and plus the holidays and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. That's where I spend a lot of my time and a lot of my hard-earned money upgrading all these things. Because, I don't know, I like making them look as close to the original as possible. You know, and I have all the ones, like I said, that I feel like I want right now, but I'm definitely not done. Yeah, I'll definitely own another driving cabinet. Hopefully it's Cruis'n USA. If not, it'll probably be Daytona, because I feel like that will get released, no doubt. Definitely would want another shooter. House of the Dead is the top of my list. That is one of the cabinets that is a must-buy for me. I mean, I probably will never pay full price for another one again, except for House of the Dead would probably be one I would buy right out the gate because I don't want to miss it. Area 51 would be another one. I definitely am going to make sure I have room in here for those two. And Cruis'n, if it ever gets released. But number one at the top of my list of I'm definitely going to buy no matter what is the Star Wars Trilogy arcade from the Sega cabinet. I know they're maybe not there yet with their technology as far as emulating that game, But when it does, it will be in here as fast as it possibly can. I've already talked to multiple people about building me one. I mean, I don't have the time to do it, unfortunately. It would probably take me 6 months to do something like that because, like I said, I have a 3-year-old. It occupies a lot of my time. My wife and I both work full-time, so sacrifices have to be made. So I've talked to people about building me a Star Wars Trilogy arcade out of an arcade one-up cabinet, and the price was pretty high, as you would expect. So I'm just going to probably have to hold out and wait till they release one. And I don't expect that to be in 2023, but I expect it to be maybe within the next 2 years, hopefully. Hopefully Arcade 1-Up is still around at that time. I know there's a lot of videos out there right now that people are questioning whether or not they're going to be around. I don't think they're going anywhere. I mean, people love these things. They really do. And I know they all have their problems. But for me, so far, nothing has been major. Some of it's been cosmetic. Yeah, like the marquees. Or, the speakers are kind of crap. I'm not a humongous, like, diehard old school arcade buff. I mean, the joysticks and the buttons they're good enough for me, you know what I mean? I'm not too worried about upgrading those, but maybe one day I will. But I haven't really had any problems with these things, thank God. The turtles glitched out on the scoreboard on the original TMNT. It all went to crap, so it doesn't save high scores. And Outrun just started having some problems. On Outrunners, it's weird. It's the weirdest thing. Yeah, it was only on the one game. The pedal doesn't respond to the car. I don't get it. But yeah, so there's definitely room for others. I have my wish list like everybody else. I think at the top of that will definitely be the Star Wars Trilogy, followed by House of the Dead. Oh, look everywhere. Hey, there's your boy, bad guy, number 8 on Cyclops. That score was 3 straight playthroughs. And it only got me to number 8. I think it was number 3 or 4 at the time, but what do these people do? How do you get 20,000 points on this game? Would we just sit there and play a week straight? I don't know. I don't got that kind of time. But, I don't know. I'll probably make another video from my basement, the man cave. Like I said, I have a significant NES collection. A significant old school video game collection. About 500 NES games. Hundreds of Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Atari, 2600. The Nintendo 64. I even have one of those old NES Sharp TVs in great condition. So I'll probably show those one day. But figured everybody else was doing one of these things, and I'm always in the live chats talking with you guys, and figured I would throw a video up there. I sent some pictures and stuff into Console Kits. Was featured on his Wednesday night live stream. Probably, I think it was on the first one he did. But a lot has changed in here since then. A lot of this artwork has went up. A lot more signs have been, I'm all about the neon signs and the LED signs. And I'm trying to decorate this place with some artwork. Make it, spruce it up a little bit. So, but this is it. I will see you guys on Sunday nights with 19K Fox and Console Kits. I'm always in the house, so I'll talk to you guys then. Thanks.